Welcome to Dano Does Things. If you're stuck at home looking for inspiration for what to paint like I was, you may turn your eyes to your houseplants. My model today is my Variegated Peperomia plant. While painting, I'm going to focus on the variegation by layering the colors we see on the leaves here. This bright yellowy green around the edges, the more muted mid-tone green in the middle, and then the darker greens at the top of the leaf. Keep your model close by and let's get painting. I'm using my DIY watercolor palette today, which I made out of a dollar store ice cube tray. I have a set of more expensive watercolors, but honestly, I like my cheaper ones better. I'm not sure if it's because I'm more used to them or what it is, but I would encourage anyone starting out with watercolor to not feel like they have to buy the very best equipment to begin with. You don't need to rush in and drop a bunch of money to start learning and enjoying yourself. One thing I do find myself rushing through sometimes is my art projects. I'm excited about them and want to see them completed already. But I've recently stumbled into some extra time, and so I've allowed myself to take more time when doing this particular painting. Of course, everything you see is sped up, but I probably took close to an hour to paint this piece, and that's not counting the 20 or so minutes I spent sketching the underdrawing first. I'm learning to have patience with myself, whether it's with learning a new skill or practicing an old one. Speaking of patience, the Peperomia plant has very distinct demarcations between the different shades of green. The lines are super sharp and clean. To achieve that with watercolors, you have to make sure that your first layer of paint is dry before you go in with your second. If you rush ahead and the paper is still wet, your colors will bleed together. You can create really cool effects when painting wet on wet, but for those crisp lines, you want to make sure that it's dry. For my plant portrait, I just tried to remember what order I did the leaves in and stuck to that order with each new color. That way, by the time I got to the last leaf, the first one would be dry enough for the next color. Don't be afraid to check your model or other references as you're going. If I'm painting something I've never done before, I like to look at different examples of what other people have done to get some inspiration for my own take. I'm not reinventing the wheel. There's a lot of paintings of plants out there, but I like to learn from others and then make things my own. It's like that saying goes, the same story has been written 1,000 times, but it has never been written by you. I like to go back in with a small paintbrush and do any touch-ups at the end. I'll fill in little gaps of white where I didn't get close enough to the lines, or I'll mix up a bit of darker paint to add a little more shadow or definition to certain parts. I sometimes find it hard to know when I'm really done a painting. I could probably keep fiddling with it for a very long time, but at some point you just have to step back and be proud of what you accomplished. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed and are looking for more inspiration for your next project, please subscribe and we'll see you next week.